Good afternoon. My name is Noemi Perez, and I'm doing a video validation on how to change wet to dry dressing and sterile technique. After I check the doctor's order, I introduce myself to the patient. I verify that this is my patient. I ask for 2 forms of ID, name and date of birth, and I match those with the patient's bracelet. I explain the procedure to the patient. I then go ahead and clean my hands, and I put on some clean gloves. I provide privacy for the patient, and then I gather my equipment. While gathering my equipment, I verify the expiration dates on everything and make sure that nothing's expired. First I ask my patient if he or she is in any type of pain, and if she is, I would get a doctor's order 30 minutes before I start the procedure to administer the medication for my patient. And then I would start by exposing the wound. I put the bed at a working level. Expose the wound. I take the dressing off. Slowly, and I take the dirty gauze off, and I just assess my wound. I look for inflammation, swelling, I look at the color, if there's any drainage, if there's any foul odor. I also measure the wound, the height and width, and how deep it is. I take a Q-tip and I just dip it inside and to see how deep it is. I tell my patient to not touch the wound area while I prepare my sterile field. At this point, I could take off my gloves and go ahead and wash my hands, and then I'm ready to set up my sterile field. The first thing I want to do is I want to get a flat surface to open my drape and make sure it's a dry surface, and I just open it and I take it from the corner and I just like this. And I open it like that. I want to make sure that I don't touch the middle of my sterile field and that I don't go over my sterile field. I want to make sure that everything stays within the 1-inch border. And then I start by opening this. Try to open it here away from my sterile field.
But you see how, I guess maybe
and then I take saline. I take my saline or my sterile water, whatever's in the order, and I look to see if it was open, and if it was open, I would discard some of it before I start pouring. If I'm just opening it now, I just date it, time it, and initial it, and I cover the cover when I'm pouring it so that the label doesn't get wet. So, and then I start pouring.
this is just my equipment setup, that's sterile field.
Again, I don't go over it, I just go through the side. And I start pouring. Close it. Then I start opening my gauze. And make sure that my gauze falls in the middle of my sterile field.
Okay.
I also let my pad fall. Make sure it stays within the middle. And then I go ahead and at this point I'm gonna put my sterile gloves. Once you have your sterile gloves on, you have to make sure that your hand stays above your waist. At this point, I could start cleaning my wound. I'm going to maintain this hand sterile. This is going to be my clean hand. So I just take my gauze, dip it a little bit. Pass it to my hand, and I just clean from top to bottom in the middle, and that's it. Take this, and then I clean the sides. And then at this point I could start packing my wound. And then at this point I could cover my wound with the pad. Let's take the pad. Once I'm done covering my wound, I could then get rid of the saline, discard it, and clean my area. I could then take off my sterile gloves, discard it, and I could take my dressing to the patient. I want to window frame it, so all 4 sides completely covered. And I want to put the day and time on a tape. And initial it. And I want to put this on top of my dressing, just so that the next nurse knows when was the last time that the dressing was changed. And then once I'm done, I want to cover my patient. I want to put my patient spread to the lowest level possible and put my patient in a comfortable position. I also want to ask my patient how she's feeling after I change the dressing, and I want to provide my call belt to the patient. Once I'm done, I would just go and record all my findings and just any findings that I found with the wound and with the patient's tolerance. And that's it.